Happy Mother's Day. I know Mother's Day brings mixed emotions, but we have a reason to be happy and a reason to be joyful and a reason to rest in His presence. I was planning out my notes for this year for Mother's Day, and I was thinking about the theme that we have, the garden theme, where everything is new and everything in that spring when you see the roses start to bloom out and everything feels fresh and everything feels happy. But I want to talk a little bit today about what's new. What is new? What exactly, is it better or is it not? And I was thinking about my son, Brendan, who I know you guys all know and love. He has a tendency to make me think a little bit harder and work a little bit harder and run a little bit faster, all the things. But he had some tennis shoes that wore out. And when I say wore out, I don't mean like they were scuffed a little bit on the side. I mean like his toes were showing through. To be fair, this is not the actual picture, but this is basically what we were dealing with. And so I told him, Brendan, let's go and get you some new shoes. Let's go to the shoe store. And he lit up, and we went to the shoe store, and I found exactly the same pair like a practical mom would do. And I was like, here they are, the ones that you love. Let's get these. And he was like, no, look at all the shoes. He's like, we need to take a moment. So we went through the shoe store and we tried on lots and lots and lots of shoes. And he finally settled on a pair and he was so happy and he couldn't wait to leave the store to put them on. So the old shoes, went in the new shoe box. And we got home and he wore them for that day. And then the next morning we got up to get ready for school and he had on his old shoes. And I was like, Brendan, we went to the store, remember? We bought you some new shoes, trade shoes, and tears started streaming down his face. And he said, I don't like my new shoes. I want to wear my old shoes. These are perfect. I can put them on by myself. I don't want to wear my new shoes. I want to wear my old shoes. Because sometimes old is good. Sometimes there's something so special about something that already is comfortable and already, it doesn't give us blisters and it's just easy to walk in. And I can tell y'all right now that every Sunday morning for the next 6 months, please, can I wear my old shoes? I literally had to dig them out of the garbage that first morning because I realized we were going to have a problem. And I looked for opportunities where it was okay to wear those old shoes. So what's new? Is it better? Is it brighter? Is it closure, maybe? Or is it just a distraction? And I might be the only person on this Mother's Day using this passage, but I want to read to you guys this morning from Ecclesiastes chapter 1, and we're going to go through several verses here. Everything is meaningless, says the teacher. The teacher here is Solomon, who we know to be the most wisest man and king in the world. Everything is meaningless, says the teacher, completely meaningless. What do people get for all their hard work under the sun? Generations come and generations go, but the earth never changes. The sun rises and the sun sets, and then it hurries around to rise again, and the wind blows south and then turns north. Around and around it goes, blowing in circles. This kind of sounds like when I had a toddler in my house a little bit. The wind blowing and blowing and that toddler running, and you're like, oh God, I may not make it to a new morning after this day. But it continues on. Rivers run into the sea, but the sea is never full. Then the water returns again to the rivers and flows out again to the sea. Everything is wearisome beyond description. This, I know, was written by Solomon, but I think it definitely could have been written by a mother just as easily. Everything is wearisome, beyond description. No matter how much we see, we are never satisfied. And no matter how much we hear, we are not content. History merely repeats itself. It has all been done before. And this is the focus point. Nothing under the sun is truly new. Sometimes people say, here is something new. But actually, it is old because nothing is ever truly new. And I know it seems like I'm harping on this right at the beginning, reading on and on through this chapter. But I want you guys to truly hear what this passage is saying. We don't remember what happened in the past. And in future generations, no one will remember what we are doing now. Sometimes as moms, if you're a current mom with kids at home, you might struggle sometimes to keep up with all of the new. There's a lot of pressure. There's whole Facebook groups devoted to what is new. There's one Facebook group that I'm a part of, and I don't even know if I should share this, but it's moms who need help with technology. So when you click on it, it's all these parents asking all these questions about all the things that they've seen their kids texting or talking about. And it's basically a translator because there's some crazy stuff like, what does it mean if I saw my kid text their friend a cat emoji with the cat holding a popsicle and the pops, and I'm like, what is going on here? Like, how are we supposed to decipher all of the new things with Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, all the things? We can never keep up with them. And it's not just for current moms, it's for all moms, and it's for all women, and honestly, men too. So, I have good news for you this morning. I promise I'm not going to talk to you negative all morning long. You don't have to be new. You just have to be you. And in John chapter 1, I love how he shares this. In the beginning, the Word already existed. The Word was with God, and the Word was God. God created everything through him, and nothing was created except through him. The Word gave life to everything that was created, and his life brought light to everyone. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness can never extinguish it. If you have come here today feeling a little bit broken or a little bit sad or a little bit not enough or a little bit, I want to tell you today that God woke you up this morning with a light inside of you, a light that can never be extinguished. He wants to recreate you. And he's okay if you have that brokenness. He's okay if you can't keep up with all the new that this world is throwing at you, the new hurt maybe, or maybe the new joy. We have 2 new babies that have literally come into the church this month. And babies are beautiful and wonderful and new and fresh, and they smell like heaven. But even then, they can be so exhausting sometimes, but that's okay. If you're broken, that's when he's ready to scoop you up and put you back in the most beautiful way possible. When do we recognize how strong we are? When we're struggling more than ever. When do we see his hand working miracles, not just in our life, but in our church family's life? When we're sick and when we're needing healing. When does his light shine so brightly that it brings us down to our knees and we lift our hands and he washes over us? When are we so desperate that we'll come to an altar and say, God, I don't know where else to turn. New hasn't worked. Turning over a new leaf hasn't worked. I need you. This happens in our darkest, scariest moments. And I think so often we hear people say, just move forward. Just move past this. New year, new you. Let's start fresh. But sometimes, and especially in the case with our relationship with Jesus, the best thing that we can do is stop. Stop striving to be new. Stop striving to be fresh. Stop striving to put on the happy face every morning, and just go back. Go way, way back to that place on Calvary where Jesus said, I'm all you need. I am enough. You don't have to be enough because right now I'm giving myself for you. In Jeremiah chapter 6 and verse 16, it says, thus says the Lord, stand in the ways and see, and ask for the old paths where the good way is, and walk in it, because then you will find rest for your souls. Jesus has been waiting for us from the moment he rose from that grave and ascended into heaven to let us know that we don't have to be new, that we can just be who he created us to be. I remember as a new mom, and I think there's so many examples of motherhood, but really today I'm just talking to us as a church, to the mothers, to the women, and just to all of us really. But I remember as a new mom, when I wasn't really even a new mom anymore, Brendan was probably 1 year old, and we were living in California. And I remember it so clearly. Schulz and I were driving to a wedding, I believe, and the kids were in the back of the car, and he turned to me and he said, I cannot quit feeling like something is wrong. Are you okay? And I don't know why in that moment I decided to not say, yes, I'm okay. But in that moment I said, no, I'm not okay. And I haven't been okay for about a year since Brendan was born. And I started opening up to him about the brokenness that I had been carrying inside, and about what it had felt like waking up every morning and making sure that I looked new, that I smiled with a new smile, that I laughed with the kids. But inside, all I could think was, I want my kids to have a happy childhood, and so if I have to keep putting on new so that they can have happy, I will do that. But for some reason, and it wasn't because I didn't have a support group. I have an amazing mother. I have an amazing husband. I had people all around me, but for whatever reason, every day I just woke up and said, I'm gonna try again. I'm gonna push it a little further down, because maybe today's the day that it'll be gone. But in that moment, in releasing out of my mouth the fact that I was not enough, I had given up on trying to be enough. And I just took that moment to pour my heart out to my husband, and he got emotional and I got emotional, and we talked and we moved forward from there. But it was just, there was so much deliverance and peace and joy that came in that moment of just speaking out, I am not okay, I am not enough, and new is not working. I need something more. Jesus, I need to go way back. And I know today we have grieving moms here. I know we have our very own Una Godwin, who woke up this morning after facing this weekend of losing her own baby girl. We have sick moms that are battling disease or sickness, and they long to hold on to every moment, but they have to struggle just to get out of bed. We have desperate moms who've lost their babies, and you just have to face each day, how do I move forward? Where is the new? And I'm here to tell you that no matter what it is this morning, whether you have a brand new baby at home or whether you've had to walk your baby into glory, I can tell you his sacrifice is still enough. It's still enough. And when he died on the cross and came back that glorious morning, it was because he was ready and prepared to be enough for you every moment of every day. So today, I don't want to just celebrate a happy Mother's Day for us mothers, but I want to celebrate the fact that despite the fire and hell that you have walked through, you are strong and fierce and brave, and you serve a God who makes sure of it. Because the light that he put in you, the light that he placed in you, like it says in John chapter 1, verse 5, the light shines in the darkness, and it cannot be extinguished. The darker you feel, the brighter he's waiting to shine. He doesn't care if you can't put on a new face or turn over a new leaf. He just wants you to be you and to surrender to him so that he can do the rest. Y'all know you're getting out of church early this morning because you have me up here instead of Pastor Schulz, but sorry, babe. I had to get that clap somewhere. But I really want us to just take this moment to dive in, because a few chapters down in Ecclesiastes, Solomon has truly made it clear. If you go read those chapters, I honestly don't even encourage you to go read those chapters, but if you did, you would see that this man who had everything, and one or two of them, as many of them as he wanted. He had every new gadget. Not only that, he knew everything there was to know. He understood the latest technology. He could go head to head with that teenager, but it was never enough. But if you go down in the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, it says, Yet God has made everything beautiful for its own time. He has planted eternity in the human heart, but even so, people cannot even see the whole scope of God's work from beginning to end. I know this isn't a deep message this morning. It's definitely not a long message that I've brought to you. But I do want to say that here's to you, mother, woman, daughter. Today is for you because you are enough. And together, we talked about it, Stephanie, in January, we are unstoppable. And through Jesus, we are made new. In Revelation chapter 21, now I saw a new heaven and a new earth. For the first heaven and the first earth had passed away. Also, there was no more sea. And then I, John, saw the holy city, the new Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And I heard a loud voice from heaven saying, Behold, the tabernacle of God is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people. God himself will be with them and be their God, and God will wipe away every tear from their eyes. There shall be no more death, nor sorrow, nor crying. There shall be no more pain, for the former things have passed away. And then he who sat on the throne said, Behold, yet God, behold, I make all things new. And he said to me, Write, for these words are true and faithful. Will you stand with me for a moment now? I just want to encourage us today. I know I'm not the only one who has spent time pressing down and putting on that new face each morning. I am not a long speaker because I want to leave room today. If you've been feeling this and you want to come down, we have a song prepared to sing, but if we could just take a moment before we go on our lunch and on our Mother's Day time, if we could just come to the front. If you're feeling that pressure, we just want you to experience the newness that God has for you. And you don't have to be new in Him to need His newness. But I can tell you today that if you have been feeling like you are crushed under a pressure that is too heavy for you to bear alone, I know that we serve a God who is enough. And I know that we serve a God who is ready to make all things new, for the former things have passed away. And I hope that you'll join me this morning as we sing and as we worship a God that truly washes away our tears.